What's a word that creators of number 1 demons always manage to say in regards to their levels? Besides impossible, top 1 hardest, and demon anyway. I'm of course referring to the word history. But what is history, and can a Geometry Dash level ever have it? History is a chronological list of important events regarding something, so when you talk about the history of GD, you should only really consider things that had broad impacts on the community. People often mistake having history for simply the ability to tell stories about certain levels, and claim that demons like Sakupin's circles are monumental moments in the game's history. But there's more to writing documentaries than just reeling off every time someone made progress on a level in chronological order. Every level in Geometry Dash has a story to tell, from Bloodbath to 9 Circles to a random level in the Recent tab, but there aren't any videos on YouTube titled The History of Unnamed Zero, and the reason for this is that having a story and being historic are two very different things. What determines, or at least should determine, whether or not an event, person, or level is worthy of being talked about while music by Home plays in the background is whether or not this thing has any historical significance. Historical significance is when you look at something that happened and think, okay, who cares? What effect did this have on the world we live in? Or in our case, since this is just a game, we can scale it down to the impact an event had on the community. If it didn't create long-lasting change, it's not all that important. And so, when you think about what makes something historic, do all of the levels that some insist are historically significant actually occupy an important part of the game's history? For the most part, no. And when it comes to events that really do matter, you'll notice that things would be quite different had they not happened. But if C1997 were still making videos about GD, you probably wouldn't catch him uploading What If Abyss of Darkness was never verified. Because let's be real, all that would amount to is the community having one less mediocre top 1 to argue about whether or not it's harder than Slaughterhouse. If you're finding this video interesting thus far, consider subscribing. I make commentaries about the Geometry Dash community every week. Now back to our discussion on whether historic GD levels really have an important part in GD history. On YouTube, you'll find no shortage of documentaries about events in Geometry Dash which simply do not matter. While writing this script, I find myself looking back on my own similar content and asking, who cares? The only one of these videos I'm proud of is this one, as I was able to explain the importance of 144Hz monitors to the competitive playing community, but the other ones all pretty much suck. So a lot of people are stating that certain levels are way more significant than they actually are, and a lot of the blame for this should go to the creators of the levels themselves. This whole history BS is part of their clickbait formula to generate hype for their project. In addition to putting top 1 impossible level legendary demon in the title of the showcase video, they'll also convince their audience that the verification of their cookie cutter Little Timmy level will somehow be the most pivotal moment humanity has ever seen. One day, approximately 5,318,008 years ago, a layout was previewed on Ice Cave's YouTube channel that would change Geometry Dash history forever. For the next 3 years, leading up to the present moment, the GD community remained on the edge of their seats as dozens of the finest players the game had to offer embarked on a journey and attempted to cement their place in history by beating the most historic level in GD history. Many would try, and most would fail, but eventually, one person would finally come out on top and establish their enduring legacy in the minds of players all over the world as the first to complete this beast of a level. The moment when this beast of a level was finally slain was more important than the Treaty of Versailles, had a widespread impact on more people than the discovery of the Americas, and was more of a game changer than even the Big Bang itself. This is the history of generic top 1 Extreme Demon Mega Collab number 69. I really wish people would stop fetishizing every single one of these demons as if it were some sort of revolution. I don't really care if you want to make a video about a level that isn't important, but the ones that are being made are Summoning Salt style documentaries which take the events that they cover way too seriously. I mentioned earlier that if C was still in the community, his attitude towards most of these levels would be less in favor of making a GD Legends series video on them, and more in favor of making a rant video on how terrible they are. This isn't the first time I've talked about the history of Geometry Dash levels. Almost a year ago, I made a video rebuttal to the argument that history makes a level rate-worthy. Check it out if you're interested. Tell me what you think of Geometry Dash history, and if you found this video informative, consider subscribing for more like it. Thanks for watching.